upset some people a little bit, but that's okay. I have to go through this. So there's, and I know this from a coach and from studying it. I study all of the scientific data all around the country and all different pockets of the country. Obviously, I have 8 years as a middle school, high school, AAU coach, camps, the whole 9 yards. I've known a lot of people and known a lot of parents that put their kids through sports. I've watched a lot of things from close, even though I don't have my own kids. People will say, "You don't have any kids. How could you speak to this?" That's right. I don't have any kids, but I have an opinion and I have a lot of experience in this way. And I'm mentoring now on this way for players, coaches, and parents. So there's 10 common mistakes that sports parents might make. And let's go through the 10. I'll go through this really quickly. Number one is pressure to play in certain sports. It's not the parent's decision, folks. It's not your decision. Sorry, I'm not telling you how to raise your child, but there's problems in that come up later, and I've seen them. I saw them while I was a coach. I've seen them post being a coach. I've talked to different players over the years. It has a profound, lasting impact, and there are regrets. And one of the worst things, as we know in life, is regrets. Pressure to play certain sports because you want them to, and don't really communicate and identify what it is they want to do. We see number two a lot. I think a lot of people admit this. I think a lot of parents see this, where a parent is living vicariously through the student athlete. Maybe they didn't do it. Maybe they just want their kid to be the best. They're living vicariously through them as if they want it more than the player themselves wants it, earns it, deserves it. And that's really unfortunate. And I've seen that. I've coached in situations where family members were that. They were loud. They were obnoxious. It was about them. It's not about the parents. It's about the athlete. It's about the student athlete. Student first, athlete second. And we've lost track of that. It isn't about you. It isn't about how you get along with other parents or what status you have or how good you feel about yourself. It's about the person. And if you look at me right there, that's a real player from Ward Woods Tower. I'll say his first name, Tavion. What a really good kid. Honestly, a really good kid, but really, really shy, had a lot of talent. No one ever gave him a shot. And I started to give the kid a shot. Very quiet, very shy, doesn't talk, doesn't have a lot of family support. No one, to my knowledge, no one ever came out and watched him play. Felt really, truly bad for this young man. And it's like he just wanted to play, and he wanted a chance, and he wanted to feel good about it. And boy, from where he started at the beginning of the year to where he ended, it was like one day he went crazy. I think it was 14 or 16 points. Dude's going between the legs, behind the back, fadeaways. It was like what the bench was going wild. I was going wild. It's like we saw some of that stuff in practice, but it's like, holy cow, in the game. And I got the goosebumps right now because, folks, parents, that's what it's about. And this is not to every parent in terms of not everybody does the wrong things, but there are plenty out there. There are plenty out there. The studies show it. There's a burnout effect. Parents are trying, especially now with NIL, for years we're trying, let me see if I get my kid good enough to get a scholarship and I'll get money off. And now it's NIL, and I want to turn my son or daughter into a money-making tool. This is egregious. It's terrible. It's harming these young men and women. The overwhelming majority, 90 whatever percent, will never, ever play a game at that pro level that pays them money. And there are people that just, it's like they think it's going to happen. All right, number 3, overscheduling of the athlete. It's insanity. There are some people that own multiple businesses, and these kids run bigger schedules. This travel, that. I'm not going to get into a lot of that in a moment. And again, I'm going to get blown up for this, but this is what we're seeing on some of the things we see on Sundays, some of the things we see on Saturdays, some of the things we see at the college level. This is why. This is one of the reasons why, folks. You're contributing to this. And then people say, oh, I don't like to watch this. And look at the attitude. And it's the me athlete. It's not the team. This is part of the reason why it doesn't start in college. Hello, this is starting 6th grade, 7th grade, 8th grade on into high school and then beyond. This is a major problem, and it's at the youth level. This is where it gets impressed upon, and in many ways a negative way, many ways a positive way. Sports is a massive part of life. On my mentoring division, I talk about sports, life, and business. It's all connected. It is all connected. Each one of those categories fits with each other. So a lot of people do it the right way. I don't want to get away from that. Number 4, participating in sports politics. This is really bad. And I saw something yesterday. I won't mention what it is. It likely has to do a lot with politics. The sports politics of it is really bad. It's over the top. It's harming. It isn't fully legit. You're going to make my team if you do this and this. Let me take care of you with this business deal, that and that. It's just detrimental. I understand the concept of it. I understand the manipulation of it to a degree, but it's dangerous. And there's somebody caught in the middle of you thinking it's best for your son or your daughter, and maybe it's not. Just maybe it's not, and maybe everybody just really needs to look at themselves, for that. Number 5, alternate messaging from the coach. This is so common. Parents give a different message than the coach from the time they pick them up to the time they leave. I've talked about this in the past. Number 6, lesson focus on academics. This is a huge problem, massive problem. Sports, more so now than ever. And it was even when I grew up playing. Man, I got practice. Oh, I'm in school thinking about the game. I'm talking to the person or practice. I'm talking about the game, whatever the case may be. It's a Thursday. I'm talking about, we used to play on Sundays when I was in middle school. And it's like, we're talking about the game. And, somebody get all up in your shit and say, you need to focus on your school, right? And I went to grade school, middle school with nuns. They'd hit you on the ass. They'd call you out. I remember picking my finger one time in class, and it was a Sister Concetta. Mr. Burkhart, is your nails more important than diagramming sentences? She called me out right in front of the class. You do that now, it's like a lawsuit. But lesson focus on academics is not good. Knowledge of travel versus recreational ball. Everyone wants to play travel ball. Everyone wants to play travel hockey. And it's like, and I'm going to get into it in another slide I'm going to pull up in a minute, but what this does is intense. There are long-lasting effects, and I'll get into a little bit of what I saw on a business level when you try to hire somebody who becomes 20 and 18, 19, 20, 21, when they realize that their pro aspirations were false, and they're totally unprepared for a workforce, and they're stunted by 5, 6, 7 years. This is serious. This is affecting our lives. This is affecting your lives. The quality of society, the quality of our everyday lives is being impacted and being missed, in my opinion, in some ways on a pretty significant level. It's different in certain pockets of the country. It's different in certain sports versus others. But it's damaging. Knowing the difference between if your son or daughter should be playing recreational, also known in the hockey world as house, versus travel. Travel's intense. Some of these travel schedules, these are college type level worse. Honestly, they're worse. College has certain stipulations and certain rules and policies. You can only practice a certain amount of time. These travel teams, over the top. It's 12 months a year, 11 and a half maybe. It's too much, folks. It's too much. The numbers don't lie. The impact long-term on some of these players doesn't lie. The proof is in the pudding. Number 8, not observing change in the desire of the student athlete. Maybe they don't want to play that sport. Maybe they don't want to play anymore. Maybe they want to play another sport. Maybe they want to hang around with their siblings. Maybe they want to hang around with a friend. Maybe they want to do something else. And I believe this because I saw it, because I heard it, because I talked to parents, because I've studied this. is like, if my kid's not in sports and my kid's not playing, or kids is not playing travel, then I don't fit. Then they won't befriend me. They won't be friends with me. That's dangerous. That is really, really dangerous when you think about, we only have an opportunity to be youthful once in our life. Once. How many of us, I'm be 53 end of this month, how many of us have any regret and wish we could be a certain age again? How many of us? I think it's a lot. I've talked to a lot of people, a lot of studying human behavior and the human condition over the years. We want to say, if I could go back, I would do this. If I go back, I could do that. Boy, I wish I could be 18 again. I wish I could be 20 again. How about these guys? How about these girls? Are we thinking? Are we thinking? Are we thinking about key areas of life, key areas of friendship, key areas of being a sibling, of a family? You can't get it back. Oh, my kid grew up too fast. Oh, my God, my kid's moving out. Oh, my God, I wish they were 12, 14 again. Well, if they're in a rink all day and they're in a gym all day and they're in a training complex all day, all night, 4 days, 5 days, 6 days a week, and they do this for 10, 12 years, so you're basically what? 10, 8, 7, right? Do that for 10 years. So 10, 11 years, you've gone from 8 years old to 18 like that. Gone. 10 years gone. It's not to say that there's not going to be some good with that. There's a lot of good with that. There's also some very dangerous things with that. And I'll in the next slide, I'll come up with that. I'll cover that in a moment. A lost focus on what sports are actually for. Again, so much more about, it's about me and mine instead of the team, to quote Bo Schembechler again. They're playing, a lot of people play for the wrong reasons, and that's the problem. Number 10, altercation with refs or parents. I put a lot of videos up, people hauling off and hitting referees, people hauling off and hitting umpires, charging coaches. These play, it's not even just in public school, because that tends to be what people say. Oh, it's in the inner city. Oh, it's in public school. No, it's not. No, it's not. It may be a little bit higher percentage there, but it's happening at all levels. It's happening in church ball. It's happening in Catholic. It's happening in Lutheran, Greek. It's happening in public, AAU. It's middle school, high school. Some of the things, recreational ball, some of these things that you see, it's like people are getting hurt. This is bad, really, really bad. In a lot of cases, not all. It's gotta be put under control. All right. So here are some of the things that I think, that the slide that I just showed you, what it can lead to in terms of setbacks that I believe are common after a lot of study, and what young players may face because of potential parental decisions. So number one is confusion on what they actually want in life, because they're being pulled, twisted, torn. Let me have a piece of you over here. Let me have a piece of you over there. And I'll be honest, 100% be honest. And I know some very famous coaches at the high school level and even college level, personally know them and have talked to them about this, that if you're a basketball coach, you wanted like 100% of their time. If you were a football coach, you wanted 100% of your time. Whereas inside, us coaches know that playing multiple sports is beneficial for a number of different reasons. You have a different coach, you have a different perspective. It's a different sport. It's a different muscle group. It's a different mind. And you mesh that together, and you can condense back down in your junior year. Let's say if you're in high school, condense back down in your junior year into maybe a focus on one sport, because you've gone through it, you've learned, you have seasoned yourself, and then that happens. But we want, I mean, I even had a guy, a former player of mine a few weeks back, and hopefully he'll be on next week. I'll get to that in a bit. That we want them all to ourselves because it's going to make our team better. And the athlete feels this. The student athlete feels this. Now, they like to be in demand. They like to be wanted. That's a good feeling. But to what extent is it detrimental? You're being pulled like a rag doll in a bunch of different directions. Play this, do this, no, don't do that. And there's confusion that takes place. And then there is a distortion of what they really want. They find it harder to determine what it is they want. Maybe they don't want anything to do with any of what's being suggested, but they can't say it because they don't know how to say it, or they're afraid to say it, or they might be looked upon poorly, or they might be looked as they think they might be looked as a baby or a wimp. And what will my friends say? What will my teammates say? What will my coaches say? What will my parents say? What will my aunt or uncle say? There's a lot to this, folks, and they're at a sensitive age where this is can be very, very, very unhealthy. Number two, missed opportunities. Again, I talked about it on the previous slide. It's like uh, you miss out on opportunities you can never, ever get back. They're gone. You're only 12 once, you're only 14 once, you're only 16 once. When it's gone, it's gone. There's no going back. And when real life hits, right, and you're 28 and 29, 20, a lot younger than that, you have responsibility and you have bills and you have a relationship and you have a career, you have all these types of things. You can very easily look back and say, man, I missed out on this or I missed out on that. I'll tell you one that I've seen it a lot. I'll keep it at that. Missed opportunities with siblings, missed opportunities with other potential interests. When it passed, it passed, especially if there's an age difference between said player here and said brother or sister here. Let's say there's a 3-year, 4-year, 2-year age gap. There's that natural progression and span of I'm 5.5 years separated from my brother, lost a sister in between. She was only 3 weeks old. Not that it makes it any less awful, but I grew up my entire life with a sibling that was 5.5 years older than me. So we grew up in life in two different phases. He was experiencing things that I wasn't able to experience. We were too far apart. He went to high school long before I did, was done with high school when I entered high school, drove long before I did, left home long before I did, got married long before I did. There's a lot of different things that already factor into life that you could miss because of the way the age is. Now, go throw yourself in a rink. Throw yourself in a gym. Go throw yourself wherever on a field and working out year round. You don't see those siblings. You don't have that family life. Those are missed opportunities, cherished. Now, some people have the means and the ability and the flexibility to do other things to help supplement that in certain type of ways, but I don't think it replaces it fully in terms of the closeness that you could have internally inside a family or with another sibling or with friends or just generalized missed opportunities that you would miss out as a 15-year-old, let's say, for 13, 14, 15, 16, because the choice was so pushed on you to do this, 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 and this because of selfish reasons. That person might struggle with that negatively for the rest of their life. Number three, exhaustion from go, go, go. Again, I'm telling you, as a basketball coach in high school, it is year round, folks. It's like a job. If you're not in season, you're in off season, you're in summer league, you're in different camps, you're in the weight room, you're on the track, you're sometimes in personal training. It doesn't stop. Please understand this and what you are getting into. If you are younger and you're still entering that phase, you may have thought or have watched others do it and think you have a good grasp on it. When you're in it, there's nothing like it. You can't even replicate it. You can't even properly prepare for it. When you factor in family, school, career, life, multiple children, if it's one, it's a lot easier. You start talking 2 and 3 children, whole nother level. That age gap, totally, totally different. It's a affecting experience. They're exhausted, folks. The number one reason that young people stop playing sports, number one, is exhaustion. Yes, there's a cap. They realize they can't go any further. You can look it up. It's easily attainable. But number one is exhaustion. And in the travel world now, and in the pressure from parents to succeed for reasons that are far beyond what the player wants, what the son or daughter wants, it's exhausting. Number four, sacrificed grades. There is absolutely no question. that there is a huge percentage, a very significant percentage around the country where you see kids have to enter summer school, night school for the simple, not a simple reason, but for the reason that they're overscheduled, they're overworked, they're exhausted. Something is put before the other, meaning athletics is put before academics. And let me make this clear. I did it too. I did it as like I loved being in the gym. I loved practice. I loved games. It was, but I didn't play in a travel era. There was no travel era back then. So I really can't, from my own personal life experience as a when I played, that didn't exist and it does now. So two different eras and two different sets of circumstances, but balance was required in my life. That doesn't make me special, doesn't make me anything. It was required. Being at the kitchen table, it was required. Having dinner with family, it was required. It's not anymore. And this will get to a couple here in a moment. So grades really suffer in this. Number 5, living in a rink or a gym too much. I talked about it a lot on the slide the other day. These young people are growing up someplace outside of a house. Number 6, cars and bars. They're eating in cars and they're eating in bars. And I'll get crushed for this. But again, I don't care. Generally speaking, generally, not in all cases, this is a general statement. It's not a blanket statement. When a sport ends or a sport is an all-day occurrence or an all-weekend occurrence, it's particularly in the travel world. And maybe you're out for a weekend. Maybe it's an all-day type of thing. And there are many of those. That's another thing, folks. These go on all day long. They go on all weekend long. They go on out of state, sometimes every weekend, every other weekend, 3 times a month. It's insane. So the youngster is growing up in a car, a rink, and a bar. And why do I say bar? Because parents get together, they go to the bar. Kids grow up where the kids go. Parents go where the parents go. And in a lot of cases, there's excessive drinking that takes place. Now, is this the example that we want to set for our young people? And it's excessive. In a lot of areas, it's excessive. I've seen it. I've literally seen it. I've experienced watching it. I've watched it on multiple levels as a coach, as an observer. It's unhealthy. It's dangerous. Children, young people are being put around an alcohol environment as the thing to do. Now, and it's excessive. It isn't like, hey, let me just have one beer. It's who of the group can drink the most. Let's party. Like 35, 40, 45-year-old parents, let's party. Let's just have at it. There's people witnessing that. There's impressionable people witnessing that. There's an introduction into something like that. And as somebody who now mentors and who now talks to a lot of people and understands the core root of a lot of these issues, obviously we all know that these things happen from when we're young. And what we're doing in the sports environment, in the sports arena, there are things that are being done that on the surface appear to be very, very healthy, but it's gotten so out of control that there's a lot of negative things that are happening. And eating in a car and eating in a bar and living your every breathing, waking moment in a gym or a rink. And you're talking about a coach, right? Full disclosure, as a coach who believed in work, who believed in we're going to lay it out on the line, who would stretch the practices. And when I say stretch the practice, I'm talking 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 12 minutes, 14 minutes type of thing. I'm not talking hours, but man, you got to get to this one more thing because we're preparing, we're prepping, we got to be ready, all of this type of stuff. I get it, but that's nothing compared to what we're talking about here. Lack of variety of friends. You grew up in a rink, one set of friends. You grew up in a gym, one set of friends. There is no real variety, variation. You're limited. It's one mindset. It's hockey people. It's basketball people. It's workout people. Have you exposed yourself or been exposed or been offered the opportunity. You're not making your own decisions at 15, 16. Have our parents, are you giving your son or daughter an opportunity to experience more variety and more personality and more ways of life? Or is it one way? Because I'm telling you, as an employer, I watch this happen. I gotta be employed where my friends are. I gotta work next to not my friends, my teammate. I got to be employed with a former teammate. I have to work on the same job with a former teammate. I don't want to work with anybody else. Why do you think that is, folks? That isn't just because you're friends with the person. That is because maybe you are socially restricted in certain areas and you don't know how to interact with somebody else that isn't from your, what you would say, way of life, or the commonalities of, we grew up in a rink together, we grew up on a team together. Some of that's healthy, some of that's good. I get it. Guys go, football players, the jocks, they hang out. I got that. Please don't misunderstand me. Someone will blow me up on social and say that I'm exaggerating the point. But I'm telling you, I hate to use this word, it's almost gotten to a degree, it's almost cult-like. And it's only those people. You see it over and over and over. And so when the aspirations of becoming pro, or the aspirations of signing an NIL deal are gone and life happens, now what? I don't think that parents are paying enough attention to this. Number 8, no real other life. There has to be variety. There has to be separation. There has to be something else. It's not easy. The pressures, I get it. There's different peer pressures now. I get it. I've studied it. I've watched it. I've coached it. I get it. But there's got to be something else. And this year-round stuff, it's tough. It's taxing on these as a student. That should be the priority. It's not, and that didn't just stop. That's been quite some time. But got to have balance. Number 9, sibling relationships easily strain. I touched on it a little bit ago, but I've seen this happen too. I saw it as a coach too. There are certain children that play certain sports that a parent or parents put more emphasis on. It's cooler. It's where the politically driven parents are. It's where the most influential parents are. It's where the most influential coaches are. So more attention gets put on that sibling, on that child, or more than one. And then there's somebody else that is also a son or daughter that plays in a different area that isn't as influential, that isn't as mainstream. And there's a natural letdown for that person. And they look at sisters, or they look at brothers, or they look at their life, and they think, I don't matter as much. And I wish, and then resentment starts. It's like, I think that there is a loss of grip on this. I think there's a lack of education on this. Parents I don't think in most cases are intending to do anything that's detrimental, but you get caught up in the hustle of it. You get caught up, quite frankly, in the BS of it. There's so much politics at a young level. It's one of the things, probably number one. One or 1A is what drove me out. Politics. You're not playing my kid enough. You should be playing my kid more. If you want this to happen, that's got to happen. The behind your back stabbing, the clicks, all of the different stuff. It's just unbelievable. And let's angle to get this coach in, and let's pay him money on the side, and let's do these different things because it's going to play my kid or play my kids, or whatever the case may be, and play somebody else less. And let's get so-and-so involved so they can root out so-and-so. And it's like, what has this become? Is this good? Is it a positive? There's a lot of it that is. Yes, 100%. Even with everything that I've listed, there are a lot of things. I've talked a lot about what all those positives are, but we can't just walk around and act like it's all good, because it isn't all good. And I've seen it as an employer. The after effects are stunning. I can't even describe it into words how serious it is. It's not going to get better. It's going to get worse if things don't fundamentally change and people don't realize the impact and effect that it has on the person themselves. And number 10, it's the same thing as lack of quality time with family. That dinner time conversation, where's that? In the car, from the front seat to the back seat? Is that in some hotel room? Uh, it's crazy. It's totally crazy. And there's most people that are in travel have the financial wherewithal to do it. It's enormously expensive, and that's not going down. It's going up. And there's a lot of fundraising that takes place to try to offset some of those costs. But there isn't fundraising for hotels. There isn't fundraising for airfare. There isn't fundraising for gasoline and for other food costs and all sorts of other costs that are incurred as a result of this life. And then did it ever cross anybody's mind that as that young person gets they're so impressionable and they come up through that then they feel that they absolutely have to do it for when they have a child? Like, think about this. I'm challenging all of you parents out there that maybe find struggle or maybe be introspective a bit and look at potential damage that this could be causing to somebody you love so dearly. And you're potentially not doing it. You're potentially not doing it intentionally, but it's happening nonetheless. And if you get caught up in the rat race, you get caught up in the Joneses, you get caught up in the rigorous schedule, and you have your own career and you have your own life and your own home and your own spouse or partner, it's like you sometimes lose track. And that's part of my role now, is to bring awareness in certain areas and tell you from experience that I watched it. I study it. It's there. And it's not getting better. It's getting worse. There are long-term ramifications. There are long-term positives. There are also long-term negatives. Be honest, it's very difficult to find a balance because of the peer pressure. But ultimately, as a parent, the decision has to be made to do what's in the best interest of the now and do what's in the best interest of the future, interest of the future of the young person, and not one's self. So again, I have a feeling that I will get a lot of heat for this as this gets launched and broken up and spliced up. But again, I don't care. And I'm going to keep on this topic, and I'm going to be a spokesperson, I think, in this way, because I've got a lot of experience in doing this. And even when I had my camps, I can tell you, when I had my camps, I got to leave because I have driver's training. I got to leave because of this. I got to leave because I'm in another camp. You're going to one camp and you're leaving that camp, which is 3 days, let's say, or 4 days, 3 days. And I'm going to spend one day at your camp. I'm going to spend one day at the other camp. What? Like, there isn't even a completion aspect to that. There's so much wrong with that. Make a decision. It's one camp or the other. You can't have your cake and eat it too. Make one decision, because you know what? In 3 years, 5 years, 7 years, you don't get to work. I'm going to give 20 hours a week to this job and expect it to be full-time. I'm going to work 20 hours at this. You can accept me for 20, pay me like 40. It doesn't work, folks. It's not life. It's fantasy island, fantasy land.